The bright sun stood hanging over the overgrown beach, lurching ever slowly across the sky. A rumbling stomach could be heard from a set of bushes outside of the Tower of the Recluse, the lone building a stark contrast to the lavish beachfront. A small set of eyes slowly look down to his stomach, then drift up to one of the many trees. After a moment, he found what he was searching for, his gaze locking on a branch adorned with bright fruit. Short, stubby legs carry the child over to the targeted tree with as much haste as he was able to manage. As he made his way over to the tree, his hands grabbed up as many felled fronds that he could manage, piling them underneath the branch that held his meal. Upon reaching the tree, the little boy started the slow journey to the prize, this set of movements not unfamiliar to him. A little more than halfway up, the ragged clothes that adorned the boy's small frame caught on an uneven piece of bark, ripping the failing cloth further. Clambering onto the beach, the child started to slowly shake the branch, a sweat drop trailing down his face, making his determined expression much more pronounced. After a while, fruit started to fall one by one into the pile of leaves that he placed earlier, leaving about half of the fruit on the branch for a later time in the day. The boy turned around and hugged the tree and slowly shimmied his way down. At the bottom, he grabbed a fruit and took a bite out of the orange-green skin. A tangy juice burst into his tongue and silenced the hunger gnawing at his stomach. After finishing the food that he gathered, the boy sat down and looked out at the beach and the connecting pier. He could see families smiling at each other's presence, splashing happily through the blue-tinted water, mothers and fathers just laying on the clean sand, hands intertwined in a state of bliss as their children build intricate castles nearby. Upon seeing this, he remembered that his adopted mother, Calais, had mentioned that she would be attending those from the normal world that had come for the festival of the fractal star. She said that during this festival was the one time that he was able to experience the flow of time the same way that beings from the normal world did. Calais said that this was why she allowed others to enter the beachfront that the child normally walked alone, in hopes that he would be able to interact with those that went there. The scenes that play out before him cause a sad smile to make its way onto the boy's face, while a somber glint creeps its way into his eyes. Such a look makes him seem so much older than the 4-year-old he is. He knows that he doesn't have a real family, and he really would love to be a part of one, but he has been alone since he can remember. Calais tried to be his mother, but she was not able to treat him like her child, instead taking on a more passive role, ensuring that he would not perish rather than being nurtured. He has been asking for a real family for the longest, but now he manages to just be happy that he can be around such a beautiful area. Turning away from the families playing, he looks at some scraps of paper that he gathered from books inside the tower. It was a rather rudimentary book written in common, but it taught him the basics of speech as well as it could. He continued to practice while the sun continued its dip towards the skyline. After everyone had left, the boy saw this group was just like the last that he encountered. They stayed to have fun, but left all of their trash and garbage behind in their departure. This saddened the boy more than anything, since the trash was marring the beautiful area he had come to call his true home. So just as last time, he waddled over and began gathering all of the trash into one small area. Every once in a while, he would come across a starfish or clam that had been ripped away by little fingers eager to grab at anything. He would gently pick it up and walk it into the water until the waves lapped at his neck. Dropping the organism and watching it slowly settle to the bottom of the water, back to where it belongs, this small act never failed to elicit a giggle and glowing smile from the boy. Finishing all of the garbage gathering just as the sunset began, he moved to his favorite area on the entire beach. He sat down on the low pier, his small feet swirling up the sand as vibrant colors emerged from the sun and melded together in a swirl of beauty, layering across the clear sky in a range of warm hues. In the middle of the show, he closed his eyes and squeezed his little hands together as tight as his little frame could manage. As he always did, he asked anything, whoever or whatever may be out there, for a real family. Though today he pleaded for a little longer than usual. As he opened his eyes, he sighed. Nothing had happened once again. More disheartened today than prior, he turned around to find a bunch of leaves to make bedding with. As soon as his little legs took a step, the sound of rushing water roared behind him and increased rapidly to such a deafening degree. Turning around to his previous position, the boy saw a massive creature unlike anything before. The creature just looked at the boy, unmoving. The boy's eyes slowly widened in awe as he slowly stepped forward. The creature seemed to look inquisitively at the child, perhaps in a hopeful manner. The child could not make out intentions. The boy moved a tiny hand up to a tentacle of the creature that was close to him and placed his palm on it. Looking up, the boy's eyes filled with a joyous gleam. He may have just made a friend, he thought, or at least the start of a friendship. Just as the thought crossed his mind, a powerful voice boomed inside of his skull in a language that he had not heard before, the immense depth dropping him to his knees and releasing his touch from the creature. The creature recoiled at this action, seemingly upset with this outcome. Its eyes narrowed in concentration as the boy heard the same powerful voice, but not echoing into infinity. It still spoke in a language that was unrecognizable to the child, but he was able to stagger to his little feet. He thought in broken common, "Sorry, I hurt friend," seemingly apologizing for the transgression that the other incurred. The creature suddenly pulled back and threw itself into the water, disappearing completely from the boy's view, strangely, without displacing any. He stayed standing there a while, waiting to see if the creature would make a reappearance. After a few minutes of staring at the waves, he turned around and started to run as best he could so that he could find some bedding on which to sleep, opting to rest in nature once again rather than in the tower. All the while hoping that he would be able to see the creature again tomorrow.